Well, we still have with us in our Lagos studio former Commissioner of Police and Special Advisor on Security to Oyo State Governor, retired CP Fatai Owusheni. Thank you so much for joining us and for your time and patience so far on the program. And joining us via Zoom, we have retired Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu as security expert. Retired Group Captain Garba Shehu, thank you for your patience also. And very quickly, let's start.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. Very quickly now, let's start with retired CP Fatai Owusheni in our Lagos studio. I'm sure that you have so much to reflect on so far since the COAS had been speaking to our colleagues in our Abuja studio. What are some of the things that you'd like to respond to?
First, I know the Chief of Army Staff, within the period that he took over the leadership of the Nigerian Army, he has displayed quite a lot of capacity to see that, we upped our games with regards to security challenges. But I must say that there's a serious gap. One of the things that is missing is that I wonder if any of the security institution is doing what they call after-action review to, do a lesson learned thing. When you talk of what is happening now, we must first categorize, compartmentalize what is happening. What is happening and what has happened in Plateau State is not new. Insurgency. You have banditry in some other places. You just have kidnapping in some other places. We must first define all these things. And what has happened in Plateau State shouldn't be taken in isolation, because the same group of people, I was Commissioner of Police in Benue State in 2018, the same group of people, highly mobile. You must first know the characters of the people you are dealing with. Without knowing the characters, you would not be able to solve this problem. Because the same set of people had been operating within the north-central belt. They move from one place or the other. We've, at a point in time, identified that there are insurgents coming from outside the country. We must first look at the character. Let us identify them. The modus operandi they've been using in Benue State, is it the same modus operandi in Plateau, in Kaduna, in Taraba? Because the whole of that axis is engrossed and embroiled in all these things. So if we don't do a proper assessment, an appraiser of who are these characters, you will not be able to know how to challenge them. It's when you want to talk of security, addressing security challenges, it's not a one-cap-fit-all. Situations are different. Topography is different as well. And one thing is also that we must probably redefine what our internal security architecture is. If you talk of internal security architecture, who is taking the lead? Should we over-depend on the military? We should be talking of, integrated security architecture.
Before you get to that point, sir, I'd like to ask if from the operations of the military, they have begun to do that after-action review that you have talked about. From what you see, have they done that?
I don't think generally, not just for the military. One, an internal security situation, the police should take the lead. And when the police is overwhelmed, there are also procedures to invite the military. This is not the first time we've been saying this. We must look at this and redefine what the internal security architecture should be. And that is why some of us are canvassing what we'll call an integrated security architecture. You have proliferation of agencies. What has happened in Plateau show clearly lack of intelligence. And why wouldn't that be that? Because you have all the security institutions forming an intelligence unit, and they work in silos. They don't work together. They don't speak together. There is competition. They don't see their roles as complementary. It is about competitiveness. So when you don't do that and sit down together and do a proper appraisal and design your operational plan as to, okay, when should the military come in? When should they come out? If the military is going out of a situation, just like Kwaza said, that at a point in time, military withdrew from Plateau State. Who did you hand over to? So there must be institution that will, continue. And from time to time, challenge security now, crime and criminalities. You can term them as an entity in constant motion. When an entity is in constant motion, you must move with them. If the bandits, if the insurgents are going 50 kilometers per hour, you, the security people, must go 70 kilometers per hour. You must be proactive. When people are coming into, they came into Plateau State, it's not just that they arrived. They came in through some other means. Sometimes it even appears that we are over-depending on technology. One very important thing in security and addressing security challenges is the human element. And that is why in some other places they talk of human intelligence. Even the United States of America, with all the drones and everything they have, why are they building wall? Physical wall. If the drones and technology can do the whole thing. So why? There must be the boots on the ground. It's not just about depending on technology, and you must get the human elements, the non-state actors. In insurgency, just like your reporter had said, those are what they call asymmetric warfare. You don't fight asymmetric warfare without getting the people involved in it. So we must go back to the drawing table. My assessment will now be that there is a serious gap in interagency cooperation. Rather than complementing each other, there is like as if there is competition. Everyone is talking. Who should even address the public when you are, addressing security challenges? Like I said in 2018, this same element, and I believe it's the same element, their characters can be properly defined. These are guys that will come, not even herdsmen, in black and black. And did you see the speed with which they moved? When we were in Benue State, we did our bit. But if you're not talking, if you're not doing an after-action review and do lessons learned, you will not be able to address this.
Let's take it to Group Captain Garba Shehu. There are a couple of questions I would want to ask you from what the former CP has said, but let's begin with your immediate response or reaction to what the Chief of Army Staff has said. He's responded to some of the questions that our colleague raised in terms of intelligence, in terms of whether the military is complicit and all of that. So I know you perhaps listened to some of the things he said. What do you make of this and at the end of the day?
Thank you very much. Yes, I've listened to the Chief of Army Staff, General Lagbaja, and he's somebody that I know from my military days up till now. First, I will commend him for being forthright. What I mean forthright, in the issues of collateral damage, in the issues of certainly there are gaps in deployment in the plateau. I think I salute his courage for saying that. But what is the cause of gaps in deployment? Gaps in deployment probably could be as a result of few boots on the ground, as the Commissioner of Police, the retired Commissioner of Police said. And also it could be as a result of improper deployment. What do I mean? You could have enough troops. The first problem could be you don't have enough troops. But even where you have enough troops, you need to place them as near to known flashpoints as possible so that you cut the reaction time. So I agree with him when he said that there is gaps in deployment and they're taking some forces to fill there. My problem with that is that this is a knee-jerk approach for the armed forces. Since 2009, when we started having our heightened security challenges with Boko Haram, later added with banditry, with kidnappers, with herders, farmers, all experts across are agreed that there is need to increase numbers, whether it is military, whether it is police. But when I look at the numbers, we'll be doing recruitment quite okay, but it is not at par with what is required on the ground. So now, if the army is pulling people to go and put more in plateau, my fear is that you are taking troops maybe probably from Kaduna or from Niger State or from Zamfara to go and beef off Plateau State. So you see, you are going to have some problem. It's what we have been seeing in the Northeast. You capture one place, there's another attack of Boko Haram, you move these people. So I do not see the political will of addressing this lack of boots on the ground, which also the commissioner has spoken about. When we look at historically, when the civil war started, our past leaders, when the war broke, Nigeria had only one division. That is about 1,000, so that's the whole of the Nigerian military. But within 6 months, we are boasting of about 250,000 people, men and women. That was then, when our, our population was low. I see no reason why we cannot raise the number of troops. Again, I align with him when he said that this is, to me, it's a danger point, whether we like it or not. I think a cross-section of Nigerians agree that the military as an institution is one of the few institutions that remain that is binding this country together across religious lines, across ethnic lines, across whatever lines you can talk. The military is given that not only by military men, even by other stakeholders. Now, when you hear senior citizens, senior politicians from whom other lower citizens or other will take lesson saying that the military is complicit, either along ethnic or religious lines, to me, it is a very, very big danger. Like the Chief of Army Staff said, there is no, the smallest unit in the military is a section of 10 people. You cannot have a section of Yoruba men, or of Christians, or of Muslims, or of Biron people. No matter who the commander is, he is forced to work. That is the nature. That is another inbuilt mechanism as far as military is concerned. You don't pick people from your village to come and be in your unit so that you're a unit commander. There is no such unit. So it is very difficult for me, with my 27 years of military experience, to agree that a unit taken to a Plateau State will agree to fight either on the side of Fulanis, or on the side of Hausa, or on the side of Biron, or whatever reason. I do not agree with that. And I think it is very, very important that this messages, unfortunately, since this has started, is coming from highly placed people. When people in where they are selling Indomie, where they are selling meat, they hear these people saying this, they take it as the whole truth. The man is a governor, the man is a legislator, so he knows what he's talking about. I will not agree that there is such a. However, you could have wrong elements. And if you have wrong elements, for the fact that the unit, whatever unit, whether it is a battalion, whether it is a brigade, it has multiple identity, people from the opposite identity, you don't expect them to keep quiet when they hear that somebody sharing identity with them is being attacked, not because it's a lawbreaker, just because of his identity. So please, I am begging the politicians. I have heard this said several times. I have followed all the interviews. We should stop that. Do not politicize the military. Now, he talked about also allegations. He answered to the allegations that sometimes they see people who are military, you report to them, then instead of helping you, you find they are there. Now there is again another danger, the proliferation of military uniforms. Personally, with my 27 years experience, I have seen video clips, even yesterday, where I cannot, for the love of God, say the people I'm saying are really military people or not military people, because they have camouflage uniform. Some of them have even this badge, green, white, green, that the military used to put on their uniform. So there is proliferation of military uniform. And here, even the military and other security agencies cannot absorb themselves. Over the years, from the time of Jonathan to now, we see a proliferation of different kind of camouflage uniform, coming into Nigeria. And that's how people get. So it is difficult to now distinguish between the genuine soldier. But what I want to tell the Chief of Army Staff, please, what is known as a soldier should always carry his name here. Soldier is not an unknown soldier. That issue of unknown soldier is not there. It should be a standard. When I see a soldier, I should see his name boldly written. I don't know, somehow an idea crept into the Nigerian military that if people are going for operation, they should drop their names. I don't think it's a good idea. And a soldier is not a bandit, is not a political thug. So I have no problem with people seeing me SG Shehu wherever I enter, so that I count for my action. I think that issue of a bandit will not wear his name. So please, whoever brought that idea of soldiers dropping their names when they are going for operation, please, it's a very bad idea. In fact, in the military, your name tag is part of your uniform. If you dress from head to toe, you don't have a name here, it means you are improperly dressed. Soldiers should dress very well. Having said that, we still come back to the issue of deployment, the issue of not enough boots on the ground, which also Commissioner has spoken about. What I have not heard right from the time of when this electioneering campaign started is that almost all the parties, plus the winner, President Tinubu, they always agree that there are a few numbers of our security forces. But I didn't hear one candidate. And up to now, I have not heard the president say, or a member of National Assembly, what should be the optimal size that we need for the security challenges we're having. It is from there that you start. Then you work backwards. Of course, there are other issues, economics, the geopolitical role that Nigeria wants to play. Do you want to be sending peacekeeper? You all put that, and then you arrive at a number. Then you start a recruitment, whether you give yourself 5 years or 3 years. I just give an example. In the Civil War, within 6 months, we have moved from maybe less than 10,000 to 250,000. It can be done. If it can be done then, it can be done now. Nobody has put a number. And with due respect to the Chief of Army Staff, when he was asked how many troops are on the plateau, well, for some reason he didn't say. He said he has sizable. But again, this is the issue. He said sizable on TV. But I want to beseech the Chief of Army Staff, when he is talking to the Commander-in-Chief, when he's talking to legislators, tell them the number of troops that you need in plateau and what you have now, so that they actually know the number or the gap that you are having. These are some of the things that are ready. Yes.
Button, if I may, Button, let me take from where the CP has said. It appears from when I listen to the CP and I listen to the Chief of Army Staff and I listen to you, there appears to be a level of understanding. Maybe approach is different, of who these people are and what they are up to and what they can do. So where is the failure really coming from if we have all this body of knowledge?
Thank you very much. Speaking frankly, I would say the failure is first and foremost from the political leaders in Plateau State and the community leaders in Plateau State. If these people want to live in peace, there will be peace in the Plateau. It is these people that people down take their decision whether these people should not be with us, whether this one is against this, whether this one is not with it. It is them that set the agenda for this things to happen. Any person conversant with the issues in Plateau, like the Chief of Army Staff went back when he was, I think it went back as far back as when during Babangida administration. The first issue of Plateau started with the creation of Just Not Local Government. From the creation of Just Not Local Government, over the years, whether we like it or not, either through migration or through intermarriage, there is a certain demographics that are in that Just Not Local Government. When they are given a local government, because of the numbers, they have the will or the mechanism to decide who becomes a local government chairman or whoever and the rest and so on and so forth. And even where they don't have a candidate, any party that wants to win that area, certainly because of the number, is just like Ikeja in Lagos, it's just like Sabongari in Kano. If you go to Sabongari in Kano, you are going to do an election, you have to align with the Igbos and Yorubas in Kano. If not, you are not going to win. That is what happened in the Just Not. But from that time, when that Just Not local government was created, we never had peace in the Plateau for one reason or the other. And again, when we look over the years, there have been several regimes. Some regimes have been notorious for inciting these cleavages among the people, while some have tried. But so much so that
Group Captain Shehu, you may need to unmute because we've lost audio through to you. We can't hear you anymore, Captain Shehu. Please unmute. And you were beginning to give us very critical information about the genesis of the challenges in Plateau State, on the Plateau. Speaking of which, I'd like to ask you. All right, I'll proceed with that as soon as we sort out the audio connection through to Captain Shehu. Let me come to you now, retired CPO Osheni. You've raised quite a number of critical issues, particularly about the lack of synergy and, the absence of after-action review. I'd like to follow up with Jeffrey's question about where the failure is coming from. One of the things that we're hearing from the Plateau is that the communal clashes has an ethnic, a foreign dimension to it. And some of the locals speaking to pressmen are saying that, those attacking the people there speak foreign languages. Now, let's tie that to Taraba State, where there's also been attacks in recent times. And the lawmaker there is saying that there are attacks coming from Cameroon, neighboring Cameroon. Let's go to the south as well, Cross River State to be precise, where we hear about bandits, coming into communities from neighboring Cameroon. We've had this, commentary even in the last administration about those infiltrating our communities speaking foreign languages. Was there a failure to follow up on that intelligence? And are these connected in any way?
Thank you. I will take I'll take it up from what the retired group captain started. I happened to have a stint at the University of Jos in 1986. I was still a policeman then. You see, the problem with the plateau even came up at a point in time when the Inspector General of Police, MD Abubakar, was going to be appointed. This just north and whatever. But it is high time that we put that behind us. As uniformed people, we should talk about whether a situation has been politicized or whatever. The military, the police have a mandate. The mandate is to whether someone had colored a crisis ethnically, religiously, politically. The uniform must suppress it, whichever way. If we take that as an excuse and we don't face the situation, we will continue to repeat the same thing. And of course, with regards to foreigners, you know, I had started by saying, don't take Plateau in isolation. Because what happened in Plateau, eve of Christmas, we go to another state tomorrow, and we continue to say the same thing. And in operations, if you don't do an assessment of situation, you would not know how to deploy. You won't know the number of people to deploy. You won't know the tools, the weapons to give them. First, assessment of situation should be done. There should be people that, you know, we do an institutional memory. This thing keep on repeating itself. And of course, when situation becomes like that, you must sit back. It is critical in human's life. And of course, with the military and the police, what they call an after-action review is critical. It is when you do it, that what happened probably in 2005 could repeat itself in 2006. How do we move ahead of these people? And I would even look at it beyond the political thing that everyone is saying. Like I said, in 2018, I faced a similar situation in Benue State. And I strongly believe it's the same set of people, marauders, insurgents, within that axis, coming from either Niger, Chad, or Cameroon.
So they are foreigners.
So they move. The characters. You must, I would say boldly that I studied the characters of the people I was dealing with in 2018. And we designed our own way of addressing the situation. I can say it boldly that we did that in 2018. Then Operation Ayagbatuma came in and whatever. And once you know the character, you have an assessment. What is their modus operandi? What are the instruments? What are the weapons they're carrying? So you'll be able to prepare yourself.
Sorry, were you able to also identify who they are?
From my assessment, these are elements that, one way or the other, infiltrate the country. And of course, you know, our axis, our borders. You have one war or the other going on in those places, proliferation of weapons. They bring in these things.
And what's the end game? Is it land displacement? Because there's a land grabbing element involved, whether it's south-south or north-central.
It is very difficult. And that is why I said that we must first classify what we have. Insurgents have their own aim, different from what terrorists have, what bandits have, because terrorists will probably attack state institutions in order to embarrass the government. But when these people come in, they kill, irrespective of who they meet. And we must know their characters with a view to address them properly.
All right.
It's easy.
Okay, so let's head back to Group Captain. Group Captain, can you hear us now, sir?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, you were saying a lot of great things that is quite informative for all of us across the country. So we'll just allow you to continue with your stream of thoughts.
I just generally was responding to what the Chief of Army Staff said. Like I repeat, he talked of gaps. Guys, a lot of lack of numbers. But we should be discussing, as of now, as a whole, not only in Plateau, what should be the optimal size. I have to commend the current IGP. When he came, I heard him saying that he needs 190,000 additional policemen. or in some cases, he said he wants the current size of 370 to be doubled. At least that is political food for the political masters to now chew. Can the country afford it? Under what section? I did not hear the same thing from the military by people there. I have never heard somebody, and I've never heard even the political master said, okay, but everybody seems to be agreed we don't have enough numbers. Now, if you carry people from Zamfara or from Nasarawa or from where to be for Plateau, what happens if we are not praying? What if happens if that area also becomes attacked? What are you going to do? To rush people? So, issue of boots on the ground is very important. Even though whenever we talk about boots, some people bought in, like the commissioner said, they will say technology. There are things that technology can do for you. There are things that technology cannot do for you. Technology, for example, can show you people moving. But you still need people on you need some boots on the ground to go and chase those people away and stay there and scare those people. So it's not everything technology. No matter, you still need numbers, and we're not having numbers, and we are not recruiting commensurate to the needs that we have. And I also touched on the issue of trying to drag the military either along religious or it is only in Plateau that I saw that. So much so that, with due respect, it is even becoming difficult for the military authorities to send a commander to Jos. Because I would make bold to say there is probably no military commander that went to Jos that didn't come back with one tag or the other. Some left there unceremoniously, some due to pressure until they are removed. But like I said, and like also the Chief of Army Staff said, the military is so organized that you don't have the choice of people that you want to work with. I am from Sokoto. It doesn't mean I will go, if they make me a battalion commander, I will bring all Sokoto people to come and be working with me so that I can attack non-Sokoto people. It's not going to happen like that. Probably my 2IC, probably my adjutant, probably my other commanders, even the field commanders, they may not be from my ethnic group or from my religion or this. So please, I don't want this information coming from the political masters. And unfortunately, it is people high up there that are given this. I've listened to the governor, I've listened to a former speaker. They seem to allude that the military are complicit in this thing. The military is the last hope, whether we like it or not, that we have. And but then, even though it is a perception which I don't believe, again, it is a challenge to the military authorities. They really have to be aware that these things are being said. I know they are not true, but they are to make sure any officer, if at all, that has such tendencies, he is immediately weeded out and punished appropriately. We cannot afford to have the armed forces of Nigeria being viewed through ethnic or religious or sectional lenses. We cannot afford that. It is very dangerous for the country. Now, the next issue I would like to say is that it's to the Tinubu administration. In the prelude to this program, you talked, and it is also in the Renewed Hope agenda, they talk of doctrine, they talk of architecture. That has been said during the campaign. But as far as concerned, up to now, we have not seen any change in doctrine. We have not seen change in architecture. People mouth the word architecture. What do you mean by architecture? Architecture does not involve only the military heads or the military chiefs. It involves even the Ministry of Defense, how it is organized. It involves the National Assembly, how they oversight. It involves even the provisions in the Constitution with regards of how the military is to be used. I do not see any changes there, even though it is too early. The government is coming, but the government has to know the promise they made for doctrine and architecture to change it for the armed forces is not there. But their work is even made simpler by the fact that the past administration did 2 reform committees whose reports have not been implemented. I want to believe if the government should look into that, all these issues we are saying, because you asked the question that, this doctrine and architecture which is in the Renewed Hope agenda. We need to see that going. One other issue I must touch about is that, again, you mentioned the issue of security budgets. Yes, for the past year, since 2009, when Boko Haram started, the defense or security as a whole used to take a large chunk of the money. But here again, I always say that it is not like in the household. It's not. Sometimes it's not the amount of money you give your housewife that will depend on how good or how well your children feed. You have to put eye on the money. We have to make sure, apart from budgeting enough, and we're not even budgeting enough, but even the one that we are budgeting, we are not following the money to see that it is used for what it's supposed to be. Their projects should be prioritized. Issues should be prioritized. The country is at war with bandits, with Boko Haram, with ISWAP, with kidnappers. Things that do not have to do with actual, solving these problems. And to some extent, the welfare of the fighting forces, we should discard them and leave them for another day. I do not see either the legislator or the executive branch doing. When I x-ray the budget of the armed forces. To be honest with you, I see issues that should not be coming up at a time when a country is facing a war. So this blame could actually go around everybody. As far as the plateau is concerned, again, I have to call on it's the people in the plateau that will decide they want to live in peace. Whether they are settlers,
and that's where I'd like to come in, Group Captain Shehu. You were going to conclude your thought on the creation of Just North local government being the genesis of the crisis on the plateau. I'd like you to expound on that. Yes. Yes.
Since that creation of that local government, which over the years, if you look at the demographics of the Just North local government, is not like all the other parts of Plateau State. Now, since the creation of that local government, during Babangida administration, to be honest with you, Plateau has never known peace. There are periods of calm, depending on who is the governor, and then we have periods of reversals, as we are seeing now. So this issue has to be looked at. It is an issue of citizenship. It's an issue.
Oh dear, yes again, when that critical information is coming. We'll have to bring Group Captain Shehu back.
Apparently.
You know. See, I will slightly disagree because the issue with the Just North and the other side, like I've mentioned, it's also, something that has been taken up with the police. There was a time that if you post a commissioner of police that is a Muslim to Plateau State, the other side, the Biron people, will criticize. If you post a Christian, Just North people will criticize that. And there was a time that 3 commissioners of police were changed, after each other. And when the Inspector General of Police, MD Abubakar, was going to be appointed, the same thing happened. That a part of Jos said, oh no, this person cannot be because he's a Muslim. He will suppress us in Plateau State. But what I'm saying is that if you have a uniform service, if you have a security services, military or the police that knows that their obligation is to the Constitution, when you go on to the theater of operation, you don't look at who is a Muslim or who is a Christian. You don't look at who is an Hausa. This thing is not new. Okay. Even the allegation being made in Bauchi, Tidin Fulani, in the 90s, the same thing happened. I was in service. I followed the Deputy Inspector General of Operations then, Mr. Pari Osande, to Bauchi. And when we met on ground, it was the same issue. To say that, the uniform people, the military and the mobile police belong to this tribe or whatever. But when you have a leader that is determined to say that my job is to, work and defend the Constitution of Nigeria, you won't look at that. So if we continue to keep on saying, politics, religion, or whatever, we should drop it a bit. We should do what is necessary, do a proper assessment of situation. That is when you will know the number of men you will use, redefine the integrated security architecture. Okay. If you are saying that the police is the lead agency with regards to internal security, why is it that the same police that's supposed to be the lead agency in internal security, that is the least funded?
Okay.
But so all these things need to be put together.
Okay. That
creates another question.
Yes.
What is that responsible for the contention over land that we now have? And has it created this monster?
I don't know whether we have
land grabbers. We don't have time. We don't have time for that.
The insurgents, the bandits, they look at all this gap and they take advantage of it.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. We just wanted to, just for courtesy reason. Yes. 10 seconds. Just land on your thoughts.
Yes. What I'm saying is that the military, the bandits, the insurgents, or whatever, they've seen this gap. Some of the people that formed the bandits are probably ex-military person, ex-police person. They know all the things we do, and they take this back. So you must motivate. Don't over-rely on technology, boots on the ground, motivate them, reorientate them. That in Nigeria that we have now is not about whether I'm a Muslim or a Christian, or I'm an Hausa or a Yoruba man. That is it.
All right, almost. Thank you. Former Commissioner of Police in Lagos State and Special Advisor on Security to the Oyo State Governor. Mr. Fatai Awasheni, thank you so
very
much. We really appreciate your insights on this. I also want to thank Group Captain Sadiq Garubashe, who retired security expert. Thank you so much for your thoughts on the program as well. We really appreciate you, sir.